Do you smell that? It smells like Freedom Friday. That's right. It's Independence Day weekend. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite times of the year. And you know what? The Freedom Train rolls on into Happy Friday. That's right. We're kicking this sucker off. The long weekend keeps going on. My name's Kevin Batstone. I'm ready to have a tremendous amount of fun with my good buddy across the table. Of course, he is Mr. Arthur. The sparklers are weak sauce. He's the Roman candle raw.
Oh, Roman candle raw in the house, and a lot of light in the skies during this 4th of July. Hope everyone had safe celebrations and has a wonderful long weekend. Let's bring it in.
Absolutely, Art. We got some things in history today on this July 5th.
Yes, I'm going to get this one started with 1811 since, United States just celebrated its Independence Day. Wanted to highlight Venezuela is their Independence Day becoming the 7th province to declare independence from Spain. So there was like a huge movement back then. Obviously, the colonization era was crazy. I was thinking about that, how Britain, France, all these different countries were just colonizing the world everywhere. That's a whole interesting topic.
That's a fun trivia question if that ever comes up. I'll know it was 1811, July 5th.
1811. And then 1865, Great Britain creates the world's first speed limit law.
Wow.
So I wonder
how fast was it?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't do any research. What kind of speed were these cars doing for them to put that into
in
order?
18? I mean, I bet you it's like 25
or like 30.
Yeah,
like they were like.
Because think about the vehicles that were on the roads back then.
Yeah, they couldn't have been going that fast. It was probably in residential.
Horse and buggy.
And then like somebody got ran over.
How do you enforce it though? There wasn't any radar guns back then, as far as I know.
You know, you got a guy on a horse and chase you down. The speed limit had to be slower than a horse could run.
So it was like not a full gallop. It was like a trot.
I'm not too sure.
Hot to trot.
I'm not too sure, but all you race lovers out there, that's when the war against you started, was in 1865.
All right.
Also in 1865, the U.S. Secret Service begins operating under the Treasury Department.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So I didn't even realize that the Secret Service, you'd think they would be underneath the CIA.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that they were underneath the Treasury Department.
Yeah, you would think they'd be in the Central Intelligence Agency or even the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And isn't the Treasury Department like privately owned? Like, no, that's the Federal Reserve.
That's the Federal Reserve, which we found out from one of our other programs was created a little bit after this.
Yeah. So interesting how all that works. I'm sure there's some conspiracies there. There was a typo here, but 1991, it's France hits the nuclear stage in 1991. Not for the first time, but they did perform another nuclear test at the Muriao Atoll.
I was hoping for some nuke news today.
We got some nuke news. 91. And then I had to throw this one in here. It's 20 years old now. Actually, 30 years old. 1994, Amazon.com is founded in Washington by Jeff Bezos.
And who would have thought, man, back then, even like the late 90s and early 2000s, Amazon was a place where you'd go buy books. Mm-hmm. It was strictly a book-selling website, right, which now has turned into the biggest retailing beast in the world.
It's crazy. And that's today in history, July 5th.
All right. Well, you know what? It's Independence Day weekend. The fun has rolled on. Did a little bit of digging into how much we spent on, food and fireworks yesterday. And some of these are a little bit alarming when we really break it down. Art, I know you did something similar on last year's episode when we looked into how many hot dogs were eaten and things like that. So yesterday, $9.4 billion was the amount that Americans spent on 4th of July food. So that's hamburgers, hot dogs, potato salad, chips, pickles, you name it. Almost $10 billion spent on food. That's huge for, when you think about the economy and how the holidays bring in a little bit of an influx in purchases and stuff. Mm-hmm. Alcohol, you name it. All these things to get these 4th of July parties, almost $10 billion in sales.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. 150 million hot dogs were eaten. I mean, that's pretty incredible. We already know our good buddy over there for his mustard belt. He contributed to quite a few of those.
Uh-huh.
Yes. How many hot dogs did you eat, Art?
How many hot dogs did I eat?
Yeah.
0.
No hot dogs, huh?
No hot dogs.
I had one.
You had one?
Yeah,
hot
I had
dog.
one. I had a hot dog. I like to do a burger and a dog.
Maybe if I could time travel, maybe I'll go back and eat one. With, if I'm doing a dog, I like just some mustard, ketchup, just plain, but then you put some pickled relish on it, the relish.
Oh, yeah, I do like the relish.
Mm-hmm.
But I like,
I'm putting a pickle on it, too.
Mustard and kraut, that's Chicago style. I like hot dogs. They're delicious. Mm-hmm. So, I mentioned 9.4 going into the food, $4 billion on alcohol. So beer, wine, and spirits, that's quite a bit. Huge number there, actually. I didn't realize it was quite that high. This one I found interesting. $2.7 billion was spent on fireworks themselves.
Okay.
That's a lot.
They're expensive.
They are very expensive.
I mean, they only do these shows for it's like a 15, 20-minute show, and it costs like 20,000, 30,000. I don't know how much a fireworks show costs, but they're expensive.
They're expensive, and they're obviously going on in your hometowns and all over. Continuing on tonight, tomorrow, throughout the weekend, all these parties. That's a lot of money in fireworks. 73% of firework injuries occur in the month of July. That's kind of a no-brainer, I feel like. That's kind of one of those silly stats. It's like, well, no shit. I mean, the other 26 is probably going to come around New Year's, which is typically when we see the other fireworks of the year. So that's not a shocking stat for me.
No, it's not.
Keeping it moving, 6.5 million in American flags imported. That's quite a bit. Get that beautiful flag over your shoulder there.
So imported. So people aren't even getting their American flags from America?
A lot of these flags are made in Taiwan and in other places. So that's interesting.
That seems un-American to me.
I would agree. Yeah, bring the bags.
Shouldn't there be a law where like all the flags of a nation has to be made by that nation?
I would agree with that.
Like, why are other people allowed to make our flag?
Well, you think about all the shirts and stuff that we wear. They're all like American companies that are advertised on it, but they're made in a sweatshop overseas.
Yeah.
So that's, that's just...
There's a lot to get into there.
That's one of those deals. Almost 71 million people have traveled more than 50 miles for the 4th.
Okay.
So whether that's to go recreationally camp.
Now, is that there and back, too? Does that count there and back?
I think it probably would.
You think about... I'll be in that then.
Just the traffic this week here in Denver on I-25, seeing everyone for the 4th, pulling their campers. Everyone's going out. It's a big recreational time of the year where people take this week off. They go do camping and all kinds of stuff. So that's just some fun facts on what happened here on this 4th of July. Of course, it's like I said, it's the 5th, so this party keeps rolling.
Yeah, I love it. I love the weekend. And also what I love is when we get people that help humanity. So I wanted to bring in what can we call this? The positive spotlight of this week goes to an 88-year-old woman, Miss Patterson, and she retires after raising over 40 foster children.
Wow.
So 88 years old. So she started doing this back in the 1980s. And since then, look, in 2020, there was over 400,000 youths that were waiting for permanent placement in a house. And on our other show, Discussion Combustion, we've had just a special on people who look into foster care. I have friends that have done foster care. You and I both do, Kev.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a huge need for this. But we
don't do foster care. We just know people who do.
Yeah. And look, I support it enough to talk about it on the show here. And so, but I'm not trying to do that.
No,
I don't even want a dog right now.
No, I don't. I have fish. That's enough.
You have fish. That's about the extent. But what was going on with Miss Patterson is she was just noticing back in the day there would always be kids with needs, and so she would try to help a lot of these kids out, and then they would end up just coming into her household, and she would, continue to feed them and help them out. And what she's found is that a lot of these people grew up to be great people and do great things, and she didn't really expect to get any sort of publicity for fostering and raising over 40 different children, which weren't hers. She wasn't expecting any publicity over it, but what was it? ABC News came and started talking to her about all this, and she just felt so fortunate and grateful to have been a part of all these children's lives and help them become better people and live amazing lives themselves. So with all this crazy in the world, there's some people out there really working hard to do the right thing and help humanity as a whole. So Miss Patterson, salute to you.
That's definitely the selfless act of the week right there for sure. I mean, think about that. Just how much time, money, was sacrificed taken on all these individuals. That's you have to really want to do something like that. That's not something you're forced to do.
No.
That comes out of the goodness of your heart. Whatever went into that. But 88 now, retiring. It's time to enjoy yourself a little bit. Not have to deal with these yahoos.
But here's the thing: when you're living that kind of life, you'll end up getting kind of bored.
Yeah, probably
because you're so used to being busy. Like right now, if I have a day where I don't have anything going on much, then I end up getting kind of bored. I'm I need something to do because I'm always staying so busy.
Yeah, I know.
So it's then what do you do?
It's true. My dad's going through it. He just fully retired a couple months ago, and they're out doing fishing and traveling a little bit. But he's like, I don't even know what day it is anymore because there's no reason to keep track of it.
Yeah.
Every day kind of blends the same, like that. What's that 9 Inch Nails song?
That's going.
So, but Patterson, solid Ledette. That's fantastic.
Yes. Yeah. Out of Montgomery County, Maryland.
Cheers to Maryland.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna keep it moving here. My man David Rush is back. It's time for my random records. I made a prediction that he was going to tie Sylvia Saba on this episode.
Okay.
He's one short. Okay, he's got his 179th Guinness World Record. He needs 180 to tie Silvio Saba, and he needs 181 to be the standalone most held Guinness Book of World Records, which he will get here, I think, next week. He'll at least tie Sylvia at that point.
Okay, I wonder what he's going for next.
I mean, some of these records are absolutely ridiculous. What we've seen David Rush do, from the lemon juice to the cork boards to flipping cans, the man does some wild shit. So this one involved his buddy, who's actually helped him on a couple of these other ones, where they had to pass a ball back and forth. Okay. They set the previous record in 2021 at 4,169 passes. That's quite a bit. And that's without missing a beat, going back and forth, doing all that. They have retaken the record, raised the stakes, and raised the bar to 7,827 times back and forth. They did it, Art, in an hour and 8 minutes, 52 seconds. They said the pain was excruciating in their neck, their arms. They had to battle through it to raise the stakes. Now,
they almost doubled.
They only needed 5K to break it, but they said, let's raise this thing so high that it probably won't be broken again. Putting David Rush at 179, only 2 behind being the standalone holder.
Wow. So does he get like 2 because he broke that in the past and now he's breaking again? So technically he's getting 2 different records for breaking one record, but in 2 different occasions.
Yeah, because each time you break
that counts toward his tally.
It's your new Guinness World Record.
And so somebody did come and break his.
Yep. So he had to take it up.
Okay, so he had to get it back.
Yep.
But that still counted as 2.
Still counts, yeah.
Okay.
Because it was broken and then rebroken.
Yeah, and then broke again. It's still a new record.
It's a new record.
Yeah.
So each time you do that, it counts as a new title.
Wow.
So pretty impressive.
I mean, that's going to be pretty cool, man.
He's there.
If you're on your deathbed and you're all laying there, you're like, well, at least at one point I broke all the record. I had the most records in the world.
See, my question to David Rush is, once he gets that 181 and he's the standalone holder,
no, he has to keep going.
Is he going to pull the Silvio Saba and just say, I'm done?
No, he has to keep going.
I think Rush keeps going. I think he's going to go for 250.
He has to keep going, so then anyone who wants to try to come in after and fill the Rush shoes in, it's not going to be easy.
Think about that. I don't even have one Guinness Book of World Records. He's got 179 currently.
Do you think you have one if they knew about something that you've done?
It probably wouldn't be appropriate for this program, but maybe, yeah. There's probably a couple of those in there. But the fact remains, David Rush, solid lad, out there getting it done on this Independence Day. We'll see what he's got in store next week.
Mr. Rush, salute to you as well.
Solid lad.
All right, what's this would you rather? We're bringing in the would you rather again. Last week we had you're a time traveler. Would you rather go back in time 100 years, but you have to stay there, or would you travel into the unknown future? So what did the people say?
All right, the results are in from the Twitter X poll that goes up every Friday over there at Happy Fry USA on Twitter X. Goes up. We have 71% Art of America is going into the future.
Really?
71%. Only 29% are going with me to the past.
Really? Well, I mean, you got World War II and all this other stuff right there happening.
Yeah, a lot going on. So I thought it was going to be a little bit more 50-50, but an overwhelming majority are going to the future.
Well, I will see you all in 21-24, and thank you for participating in the Would You Rather. It's a lot of fun. Those risk takers out there. So this one, look, we probably all gotten into a scenario similar to this, all right? So for this week's Would You Rather, here's the scenario. You're at a party, and you get stuck in a conversation that you cannot just walk away from. So would you rather get stuck in a conversation with someone who only complains about everything, everything's a complaint, or someone who only talks about the past glory days and only if scenarios? Which one are you getting stuck in a conversation with?
Yeah, I mean, both those suck. Both those scenarios are no good. Complainers are annoying. People that talk about the past all the time. Obviously I got to pick one here because I'm stuck in this conversation. I'll take the guy that wants to talk about the glory days.
You're stuck in this conversation?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll take the guy that's still living his high school dream in his mid to late 30s, still talking about how he would have gone pro.
Yeah.
If coach would have put him in the fourth quarter. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
I'll take that and just kind of piggyback off it. Like, well, what are you doing now? What do you got? What are you working on now?
And then he'd be like, this and that, but back here I was doing, and then he would just keep going back.
Yeah, he's probably like,
he would just keep going back.
30 to 40 overweight. And it's like, what are you doing now?
But I did this.
Yeah.
And he's just there.
It's a tough would you rather, but I'm going to take the guy that's stuck in the past. Where are you going?
I would rather get stuck in a conversation with a complainer.
Would you?
Yes, because in that scenario, there's a little bit more diversity in conversation. You know, because they could be complaining about a lot of things. And
Yeah.
like you kind of pointed out, maybe I agree with some of their complaints. Or maybe it gives me a conversation point to like point out the positive. But I'm not swaying this person. They
No.
only
Complain
about everything.
Complainers are tough. That gets exhausting.
It does get exhausting.
Because even when you try to hit them with a little bit of that positive hit, they're like, yeah, but this is happening.
It would be more entertaining than talking to the Glory Day person, but it would be a little bit more exhausting. But I'm choosing the complainer on this.
You're going
one.
complaining. All right, America, which way are you going? You want to listen to the complainer or the guy who's stuck in the glory days, guy or gal for that matter?
Yeah.
It's not about what you've done. It's where you're going kind of thing, right?
Yeah, like that's cool that you did that, but what are you doing now?
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right, we're keeping it moving. The Olympics are coming up, as we know. The Olympic break's going to be happening here in just a little bit. And so we know it's taking place in Paris. So evidently there's a river over there that's extremely not in good shape.
Okay.
The water conditions aren't good. There's been concerns about these athletes that are going to be in the rowing and that are going to be in this water competing in the Olympics. So evidently the mayor of Paris, Miss Anne Hidalgo, said she was going to swim in the Seine River to prove that this water was clean enough for the Olympic athletes.
Okay.
People are pissed over there. They're like, this is absolutely ridiculous. We've walked these riverbanks. We know what's in here. One person said that he took a shit in the Seine on June 23rd out of his frustration. This was an anonymous programmer behind the website. He told him, he said,
We
look,
got 2 weeks of pooping
just
appearances?
shitting in there. There is E. coli, human feces are in this river. It is not safe for these athletes over there.
Yeah.
And the mayor is just doing political nonsense. Well, I'll prove that it is, and I'll jump in there. Never did.
Well, what do they do to clean it up though? Like what would you do to start cleaning? It depends what the cause is.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not just people pooping in there. Like it had to have been.
There's filth.
Other reasons to why it got so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of water cleansing apparatuses they have over there in Paris, but they would, my understanding is they want something to be done, whether that's scooping out the rubbish, running some sort of machine through there to get some of the shit out of there. I'm not exactly sure what they're expecting, but I understand their concerns that if we're going to have Olympic athletes competing in this water, E. coli is a huge concern.
Yeah, you can't be doing that, okay? I mean, we need some kind of river cleanup corporation here coming in. One of my friends told me a story. He does coaching, and they were using a field that was next to a river in Ohio. And occasionally this river would flood, and it would soak the grass. And then they were practicing out there, and then the whole team was getting rashes and all this nasty stuff going on just from falling and getting cuts and scrapes, falling on grass which the water had soaked. So I bet you it's something similar to that with this one in Paris, where it's just that filthy where you can get diseases.
Yeah.
And so you can't swim, do sports, and
Not when you have fecal bacteria in there. It's not good. I mean, we know most rivers and streams, even these clean ones here in the Rocky Mountains, they have Giardia and other waterborne pathogens. That's normal. That's going to happen in river water. We're not sitting here saying drink the water, but it needs to be clean enough to be able to compete in it and get this on your skin, have it make contact with, possibly your eyes or whatever. If you're in this water competing, I understand it, but I also don't agree with this protesting that we're going to keep shitting in the water and making it worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense here.
Yeah.
You're asking for one thing. If you don't get it, we're going to shit in the water to make it worse.
Yeah, that's so petty.
It is.
Why don't they start cleaning it themselves and cleaning the banks, or trying to do something there's if the entire population that lived near this river 1 mile from each side of the river were to get together and just clean up, what was our guy Michael?
Yeah, last week the guy was cleaning up the rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah, if people just came together, I guarantee you they would make an impact.
They would.
But
instead,
so
they'd rather bitch, moan, and complain.
Yeah.
Blog and vlog about it. Put it on the internet saying we're going to shit in the river, make a big hullabaloo about it. It's just not the way to go about it. I'll be curious to see what happens here. The Olympics are coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Are they going to get this river sorted out? I don't know.
Maybe they just do the water sports in some other way,
I don't know.
In some other way, because you can't just throw a bunch of chemicals in it. So that's a whole conversation.
It is.
Look, it's a happy Friday. We got some juicy stuff.
We do,
and we always there's been 5 things I've had to keep moving here, or else this could turn into an hour-long program easy.
It could. So we're going on from the Pooh River to states banning some trans health care.
Yes, so this is obviously a political thing, a political conversation. And I'm going to kind of get this one started with my overall thought on it. And that is that anyone should be able to do whatever they want, right? But let's leave the children out of it. That's how I feel personally. So in just a few years, there's more than half the states now have bans on gender affirming hormone growth in kids. So let me break this down. So it was 2019, there was only one state that had these laws that were against gender affirming hormones for kids, and that was Arkansas, I believe. But now over 25 states have these laws that are against this, and basically the laws just So the laws generally bar transgender minors from accessing puberty blockers. And this is creating profound uncertainty for transgender adolescents. So there's this article had both sides of it, right?
Yep.
Where they were talking about the pro-trans side, which I'm still pro-trans is fine, but just not for kids.
Right.
And so I am going to go ahead and just take my side here. I think all states should have laws that prohibit anybody under the age of 18 from accessing these hormone blockers. I don't agree with it. If people can't drink or purchase cigarettes or even go see an R-rated movie
Purchase a firearm.
or purchase a firearm or vote, then how come we can trust their decision making? If you're not legally the age to vote, then how can we trust your decision-making skills to permanently reverse how your body is forming? And I'll keep this as short as I can. In one of our old studios, we talked to a therapist that used to talk to people who are going through this type of stuff to help them. And I heard some very horrible stories of people who really regretted the changes that they made that were irreversible, and it really made the rest of their lives extremely difficult and uncomfortable. So there's that whole thing too, and then you're doing that to children. So that's a crazy one, kind of a more political subject, but I just couldn't skip over it this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, everybody knows that it's happening. It's been happening. Colorado, unfortunately, is not one of the states that is on this list of 25, still, openly allowing that behavior to take place. And it's easy for, grown adults to sit here and say this, that, and the other. I mean, look, when I was in my teens, I had mental health issues. I had things going on, not so much in the trans side, but, they were trying to put me on antidepressants and things of this nature. Mm-hmm. And I just remember even thinking then this didn't feel right. It didn't feel right to throw chemicals and these things at it. Like these puberty blockers have been utilized on sex offenders to chemically castrate them. And they're using these on kids. These sources have been documented as far as what these drugs are and what they're used for. It's concerning. So I think it's not necessarily, I'm not going to sit here and get into a bout of should they or shouldn't they. It's a matter of we need to draw the line somewhere, and we can't just say, well, you feel this way, so we're going to throw everything we can at it medically to affirm that. There has to be a line in the sand somewhere, I think. Just like you just mentioned, with drinking, with getting tattoos, with buying a firearm. Yeah. I always said, even, years ago, I said, why is it that you have to be 18 to buy nasal decongestants, but you can go in and buy contraceptive care at any age? It's like at some point you have to draw the line somewhere when it comes to these issues. I'm not saying what the right way is. I don't know what the right way is, but we obviously can agree that there is a bit of a problem here when you have literally half the country divided on, well, yeah, we can get that care here, but not there. So I don't know. There needs to be something tightened up there, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of this stuff is going to Supreme Court and all these other areas, but just leave. You gotta let the kids grow up, and who else made some really stupid, extreme decisions when you were a kid that looking back you're like, wow, I shouldn't have done that. And it's we can't be given that type of control and ability to kids.
No, I agree.
And so I'm all for being whatever you want to be, but let's let ourselves mentally develop a little bit before we start making these life-changing decisions.
Exactly. There's a reason there's an age of consent, to engage in sexual acts, and frankly, when you start messing with your sexual, genitalia, 12,
and they're all concerned. They're all concerned because they're all like, well, these kids are hitting puberty, and once that happens, then what they want to be, they won't be able to be, and it's just like. That kind of sounds like conditioning and brainwashing to me to a certain extent. Yeah. And I don't know. That's a whole powder keg of a subject.
It is. It goes deep, and it can be offensive to some or whatever. But the fact remains is this is more of an American problem, more of a British problem, more of an Australian problem. So when you look at those three countries, you go, why isn't this happening other places? I'll leave it at that. Let's move on to another controversial issue here in the States, and that's going to be Chipotle. All right, I know you just had Chipotle for lunch, so I'm going to bring you in on this in just a little bit.
Okay.
So, and I've been hearing about this before I decided to put it in this week's episode. Chipotle and the way that they're rationing the portions are extremely inconsistent. I've had bowls and burritos that were massive 10 years ago, and I remember having them that were not massive. So big that they had to use 2 tortillas to wrap the burrito. Or the bowl was so massive that the lid wouldn't fit on.
The burrito would break.
The burrito would break, and you have to double wrap it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all right with the double wrap when we're talking about burritos.
Yes.
Now, there was an official from a Wells Fargo who's an analyst. He decided to order the same Chipotle bowl 75 times and take a look at what was going on.
Interesting.
And there was extreme inconsistencies across the board.
All right.
We know that there's going to be different weights when you order some fried chicken or something like that. It's not always going to be exactly the same. But this was a massive difference here. We're talking 87% of these bowls were inconsistent.
So, okay, so was he like taking all the ingredients out and then like remeasuring them?
Well, I don't know how detailed they got. I think they were weighing the bowl in its entirety.
Okay.
So I ordered the same thing, whatever,
Yeah.
Chicken, beans, rice, cheese, sour cream, whatever. Same thing, 75 times, different locations, just testing the thing out.
Okay.
And they were able to determine that these bowls, 87% were either more or less than the previous ones, especially with the digital orders. They were finding that the digital orders, the ones you call ahead for, DoorDash, what have you, had more inconsistencies than when you were in person.
Interesting.
They still had inconsistencies in person, but the percentage was much lower.
Huh.
So take what you will from that. The CEOs from Chipotle and some of these guys, their PR representatives have come out and said, we haven't seen any inconsistencies on our end. But what is Chipotle doing in quality control to ensure that each bowl goes out is going to be the same? So I think there's going to be more to come on this.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. When you have these type of restaurants where you go in and order and they scoop it, like sometimes you get somebody who gives you a lazy scoop, sometimes you get
mega scoop.
Sometimes you get a generous, and like I've seen that live action.
Yeah.
And apparently ordering live action, there's less chance for an inconsistency.
Well, because if you're live action, you can be like, hey, can you top that off a little bit more of this or that?
Yeah.
Whereas this digital.
Oh, that's too much or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and I could see, like, people, they're not watching, so no one sees me cutting
Dump
this
it in.
corner.
Right.
Or whatever it is.
They're just throwing these together. It's an assembly line. They're trying to get them out.
Yep.
But it's causing for inconsistencies. And not only has the price of the bowls gone up, the guacamole's gone up, a lot of the shit that they charge for, and people are getting gypped. And I think Chipotle needs to tighten up.
I mean, there's an overall thing here probably where it's like, there's a lot of food waste. Food production is getting hard. Then there's like a lot of people. And then so it's like, they're trying, and then you have greed in the corporations and just trying to make extra money.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. Like we were talking about the AI drive-throughs and all that stuff, and like
those are being put on hold.
You can't even pay somebody to just take the order now.
It's ridiculous.
Like, and then you even walk into Taco Bell, and then you're like standing there, and then no one even takes your order, and then they're just like, oh, go use that screen right there to put in your order.
Yeah.
It's all like, what's the point? And then you have those whole like completely autonomous McDonald's or whatever.
Yeah, those aren't going
where there's like somebody just making sure that the machine does everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I don't want to eat food that was made by AI and robot.
I don't either.
Like what else is going on in there?
It's probably not good.
I don't know, man. It's a wild world that we're living in, but Chipotle, come on. You're Colorado company. You're making us look bad.
Yeah, you guys got to tighten up, of course. There's a lot of gripe coming down this. Now you got analysts coming in, stepping in. It's not going to be good for business. You're going to have to tighten up. My suggestion is stop charging for the guacamole. You'll probably be able to fix this problem.
Stop charging for the guac.
Yeah, include it with the bowl. That's how you clean this mess up. That's how you're going to win back the customers. And because if you stop charging the guac, listen to me, Chipotle, I'm serious. You take out that extra $3.85, depending on what part of the country, and people are going to go, oh, wow, the guac's free now? Your orders are going to go up 28% tomorrow.
Yeah, they're going to be rushing in.
That's my suggestion to Chipotle. That's how you fix it.
That's a good suggestion.
Because then people aren't going to give a shit if the weight's off. They're getting free guac. Come on, Chipotle, everyone wins.
Yep. I mean, it's good guac, too.
It's good shit. I might get me one possibly tonight. All right, we're moving on to the weekend. You got done doing your barbecues and shit. There's probably more coming this weekend. Be safe with your fireworks. Drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. What do we got going on this weekend? We got the Outlaw Music Fest going on in Bethel, New York tomorrow.
Yep. Go ahead and check that out. I bet you there's going to be a bunch of bikers with vests and patches. Taste of Minnesota. A bunch of cheese, I'm sure. Or is that Wisconsin?
That's Wisconsin, but there'll probably be some cheese
what does Minnesota do? Do they like copy Canada and do the poutine or something?
I don't know. What is Minnesota, Minneapolis area?
What are they known for? That's like the Twin Cities, right?
We had a guest on that was from there. I don't remember what she said.
So I wonder what's your taste out there. I definitely won't be there, but it'd be fun. Fan Expo is happening here in Denver, Colorado all weekend. I went last year. That was a blast. It's so much fun.
Rainn Wilson, Dwight Schrute's going to be there tomorrow in Denver and Sunday, but he's charging too much for pictures and autographs, so I don't think I'm going to attend.
It's a fun event.
It is.
So here is the cheat code. Okay, yeah, I understand you're going to be spending a lot on this ticket. Yes, I get you're probably going to want to be there the whole day. But if you really want to get a good look at what's going on, you just got to look around that last hour, because people are finally, because when I was there, it was so busy. It's just packed. You're just trying to make your way through the crowd the whole time. It's hard to like look at everything because there's so much going on in there. So the last hour, when people are actually starting to clear out, that's when you could actually like kind of get some room to look around.
That's cool.
Stick around until the end if you really want to be able to take a closer look at everything.
It sounds like a fun event.
There's a lot of cool stuff there though, man.
Oh yeah,
buy.
no, Fan Expo's legit.
I wish I had like $1,500 last time I was there. I would have bought so much cool stuff.
It's a pretty cool event. So if you're looking for something to do, Fan Expo here in Denver, of course. If you're out in Chi-Town and you're tired of eating pizza and hot dogs, NASCAR's taking over the streets. That's right. If you're out there in Chicago, they've already shut down the city, Lakeshore Drive, the Buckingham area. All of that is being taken over by NASCAR again this weekend. So for you folks that can't get to your apartments and whatnot, NASCAR apologizes. But it's going to be a fantastic race. Last year it rained all weekend, so we didn't really get a full race. The weather looks good in Chi-Town. I'm excited to be racing through downtown Chicago.
I think that's one of the coolest races of the season. Shut down the city to see the tires swerve and create that smoke.
Let's go, Shane Van Gisbergen. You're my pick to win.
Oh, he won last time.
I'm going for the back-to-back.
He did win last time. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Happy Friday USA, on Twitter, aka X, or X, aka Twitter, I should say, Happy Fry USA. Hit us with an email, happyfridayamerica@gmail.com. Bring it in for the long weekend. Thank you, America.